Welcome in everybody to Esports News coverage of the ECC Fall 2024 regular season. We've got some League of Legends action on tap for you this Friday night, so get a little cozy as it's getting a little colder outside, as I assume most people are from North America. Maybe pull up a hot beverage and enjoy some snacks and hang out here with myself and my co-caster RMC. RMC, you feeling the effects of the fall up there in Canada?
Oh yeah, up in Canada we just celebrated Thanksgiving, Yanni, and there's a lot to
Happy
be thankful
Thanksgiving.
for. Yeah, thank you. We have it early here, and now for these teams, ECC. You talk about cozy. We've got a cozy league here in the fall split for the ECC. 4 teams total,
It
and
is very cozy.
yeah, it's round two. So the teams after tonight will have played more than half their total opponents.
Oh my God, that's so many. Right now we've got Converse, who is undefeated so far. They are 1-0. They went 2-0 in their
Mm-hmm.
game, and they are going up against Utica today. And RMC, we got to call a spade here. We took a look at the rosters, and Utica appears to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about Utica first, because Utica, they're facing up against Converse. On paper, it doesn't look quite as bad, because you mentioned Converse 1-0. Well, so is Utica, though Utica did go 2-1. Now, their first game, a little bit rough, but they bounced back really, really well. The reason why we're talking about it like it's going to be rough is because of the rank disparity. Converse, I think they were all masters last split, all their players, whereas Utica has a bit more of the normal blend of players ranking anywhere from, silver all the way up to diamond. And look, the diamond players might be able to go toe to toe, but for silver players, it's going to be rough. But Yanni, it's an opportunity for them to try and rise up to the challenge.
Yeah, we were talking about it. It's the Demon Lords versus the anime protagonists. But we've seen the anime protagonists fell the Demon Lords before. With the power of friendship, Utica might be able to get the job done. And, not just the power of friendship, but working together as a unit. At this point, you have to go, all right, you know what you're up against, right? Let's make some team plays together, right? Let's do something proactive and try to, leverage odd man fights, because no matter what happens, when you load into the game, the champion's strength is what they are.
Yep, and I love that you mentioned that as well, Yanni, because the way Utica won against Concord was through really good teamwork in the mid to late game. The laning phase, sometimes they're a little bit passive, but when they get to the mid to late, that's when they start to shine with some really good team fighting compositions, especially if they can put together some wombo combos. We are into pick and bans though. Utica on the blue side for game one, and with a Poppy ban to start. Poppy, a champion who's been seen in 3 different roles at Worlds already, a very flexible start to the bans.
Yeah, very much like that one. Hopefully Utica will be able to take advantage, right? Champions with dashes are going to be the ones you're going to want to pick up. Stuff like a Vi is going to be really good to have in the jungle. Anything else, maybe even like if a Cassante in the top lane, if you want to tank, they can move around, dash around a little bit, opens up AD carry availability. But obviously, you see Vi just got taken out on the other side. So it's like, on the same length as wavelength as Converse's coach.
Yeah, or heck, even for trapping the top lane for Utica, his Renekton would struggle a little bit if he had to lane into the Poppy, just straight up lane in phase. You can't really slice and dice into that. Utica continuing to take away, I think, just generally strong meta champions. Yone and Yasuo, the Wind Brothers, just got a buff on this patch as well to kind of make up for the
I don't know why.
crit drop. Well, to make up for the crit drop. Though, I agree with you. I
hate to criticize, I really do. But I mean, I just don't like those champions. So I see them get a buff and I'm like,
well, you'll be happy with the ban then, Yanni, because that's off the table for now. Converse just taking out the Nautilus. So again, another sort of champion who has engage, a bit of mobility, but it really feels like they're trying to take away some of the engage options. There's so many though coming out the support role right now. You still got Leona, you still got Rakan, Rel, Alistar, that they're still the pick up the litter for London here.
yeah. I'm a little surprised that Utica didn't ban away the Aurora, right? Aurora is still incredibly strong. Popular power pick at Worlds. And obviously we're not on the same patch, but she's still incredibly strong on this one. Usually you'd see Yone and Aurora banned in tandem. I don't really know Scooter or Shysep to be Aurora players, so that could be why. But I also know that they're good enough to be able to just pick it up. For Utica, I like this hover. I really hope they go through with it.
Yeah, and it would make sense. It's one of Virtus's more common picks. It had it banned against him last week by Concord quite regularly throughout their series as well. So, yep, there we go. It is going to be a lock. And it can also be flexed into the top lane for Traffic as well. I don't know if he's as comfortable on the champion necessarily, but it can fill multiple roles.
Yeah, and I really hope it's just in the jungle. You get to utilize all of these creative angles. This is something we talked about, working as a team. Now you get to do it on another level, RMC. You get to break the terrain of the game and kind of catch members of Converse by surprise, potentially.
Yeah, now we do see Converse locking in the Jinx, and Yanni, as much as we've kind of talked about Utica's sort of top lane and jungle and stuff like that, we should touch on their bot lane, because Matlock and London generally are the lane which looks to win out laning phase and carry later into the game. And now that Converse has picked up the Jinx for Broad Coma, Jinx's laning phase is a little bit weaker. It's vulnerable. You can definitely punish it with a heavy ganker like the likes of a Skarner. So I'm very curious to see if Matlock and London go for a more aggressive lane, something like the Lucian Nami that we've seen a lot, or heck, even maybe something like a Draven. I say that and they go for the complete opposite.
Well, it's still fine, right? Xayah is still an aggressive laner and can certainly take it to Jinx, just not in the way you'd exactly expect or want. You know, it's like, okay, she'll be really strong, but I don't know if she's overwhelmingly going to win these fights. You know, ends up being a good AD carry pick into this Sejuani, so you can use your ultimate to dodge around. I assume this means that we're going to see the Rakan pick coming next.
Yeah, without the Rakan, Xayah's laning really is not impressive. So glad to see that, you know, London is going to go with that one there. And they'll kind of have to win lane, because as the game goes on, Jinx's range and her scaling as well will match up very favorably into Xayah. Sure, Xayah can handle Sejuani, but the issue isn't going to be Sejuani later on. It's going to be the Jinx raining rockets from half a screen away.
Yeah, it's just going to be absolutely incredible if you can't get on top of her. And right now, I mean, it's Skarner, the one champion that's really good at getting on top of her, but even then could require a flash impale. We'll see if Utica has another champion that can maybe provide some point and click lockdown. Seeing the Melio hover here, I think that this is going to be a really fantastic pick. Now they're just not willing to really engage with the bottom lane of Utica. As long as you can land those Qs and knock Rakan away and have a nice farm lane. Converse's bot lane will be okay with that. And RMC, I think that makes a lot of sense with the power of their solo laners.
Yes, the lanes that we haven't touched too much on for Converse, but we should, because Scooter and Shysept are both incredible sort of 1v1 laning players. And you look over to Utica, Utica's top laner Traffic and their mid laner Acorn, those two are more about the team fight. They're not so much about the laning, and that is the worrisome part. I expect to see Utica try and pinch and just take away champions that can absolutely dominate the game and kind of snowball from there. We know that Scooter has played Yone and Yasuo. They've already banned the Yone. I think I'd like to see the Yasuo ban come through.
Yeah, I think this puts you in a position that you can get set up against like Malphite Yasuo. Shysept has played Malphite on a couple of occasions. Not too often, definitely not one of her favorites, but she'll pick it if necessary. And I mean, if you're going to have Yasuo on your team, you'll just be like, okay, sure, I'll play the good soldier here. I'll pick the setup and get that done. With this Silas ban from Utica, if they end up banning it, it looks like they won't really have the Malphite on their radar. They could potentially pick it, I guess, if they wanted to, but that wouldn't make too much sense to me. I feel like they'd be lacking too much damage, RMC.
Yeah, potentially. Depends on what the mid laner goes with. Acorn likes Malzahar, Nico, Seraphine mostly. I wouldn't be surprised if she just kind of goes with Seraphine, which means it needed an extra damage source. Yanni, that's not a Malphite.
That is not a Malphite. That is the top laner that I hate the most. That's an Alawi. Oh my god, I really hope we don't see an Alawi in this game.
Okay, it's not locked in.
Okay, thank god, thank god. We're going to see a Gnar, a more standard pick. Oh, thank god. We'll see how Shysept is able to manage the Gnar bar out. It's one of the biggest things that some top laners just can't get done, is the management of the Gnar bar, and all of a sudden you show up as a really tiny baby Gnar in fights.
Fair enough, Yanni. I'm actually going to be... I would have liked the Alawi there. I think it would have been great into the Skarner and even into the likes of a Xayah. But you were saying Malphite wasn't on the radar, Yanni. I don't know about that. Utica did have it on their minds, I guess. And okay, they've locked it in. So they need a damage threat in the mid lane. I think it's got to be the Nico here for Acorn. I'm not really liking the Seraphine if that's the angle you go for.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think Nico's enough damage. It's fine. And sure, you've got Teamfight Wombo combo, but I think Utica has put themselves in a position where they have good CC set up, but they're not going to be able to actually take advantage of it. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. I mean, if they get ahead early, RMC, then we're talking that they have enough damage. But, I mean, if they don't, it's going to be, you know, trying to throw a stone at a gigantic brick wall.
Yeah. Oh, and the Yasuo. Okay. You know what? They're just teasing us, Yanni. We shan't talk about the hovers to come through. But yeah, going to Utica's composition, you talk about them having to get a lead early. I agree with you. And the problem is that's not how Utica has played up to this moment, right? They've been playing mostly sort of mid to late game, more really into the late game than the actual mid game. And if they aren't spiking by the mid game, if they aren't finding the back line for instant pops, I'm concerned. Now, with the Hui being picked up from Converse, there is still the option. If the Hui and the Jinx are ever next to each other, if you can take out both Scooter as well as Broad Coma in the same unstoppable force with that Malphite, then maybe you have enough damage to actually roll over.
Yeah, because then you have plenty of CC, right? You can follow that up with the Nico, knock them up again, follow it up with the Rakan, knock them up again. But here's the problem, RMC. It sounds like we're kind of talking about Magical Christmas Land. It's certainly possible to have that happen, but I gotta be honest, Gnar will provide enough damage, especially in a lane like this where it should be relatively free, in my opinion. Shicep should be able to just farm up without too much issue, that she'll be really strong later on in the game.
Yeah, Gnar being a bit of a lane bully, we're seeing quite a lot of Gnar just come in as a blind option that can't really get punished. Now, it's worth noting when Gnar first came out, Malphite was actually one of the counters to Gnar, because you get to choose when you want to engage against mini Gnar. You can burst them out between your passive shield and the seismic shard. You actually trade pretty well into mini Gnar as long as you've got the mana to do so. Now, as the game has gone on, Malphite no longer has the mana to kind of match the sustained damage of the Gnar, so it becomes a bit of an iffier lane. To me, it comes down to jungle attention. If it remains a 1v1, then yes, I am concerned for the Malphite. I think Shicep can kind of get rolling a little bit, and even if Shicep can't completely take over the game with the Gnar Malphite matchup, she can certainly be a force to be reckoned with, and her split pushing strength will still be strong. But if Veritas can go gank traffic a little bit, especially once they hit 6, shut down this Gnar, if you can keep Shicep down, then maybe Utica can actually get to roam up and use that Malphite to start those 5v5s, the team fights that they're really looking for with their composition.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about the split pushing power, because Utica doesn't have anybody who can answer Shicep in the side lane. I'm sorry. Nico is not going to get the job done. She does not clear waves well enough. Obviously, your jungler is not going to be able to be the one to do it. If you send your AD carry to go do it, they're liable to die or liable to have a fight start where they can't show up. So Shicep's going to just have immense pressure in this game. And based off of that, I really expect Converse Gold to really put priority around these grubs.
Yeah, and well, just around all the objectives, really. I mean, even the bot lane as well. The early dragon, sure, might be a bit harder to contest.
Yeah, you can let that go.
Yeah, but it's about the scaling as well for Converse, something we haven't touched too much on. With Hui and Jinx, two of the best scalers in their respective roles, with the split push that you're talking about with the Gnar as well. This is a composition that doesn't need to get too aggressive. They have engage options with the Gnar with the Sejuani, which I appreciate and I like very much, but they can also just kind of sit back and soak up the engage from Utica. So Utica has to find the right engage with the Malphite. Converse instead, they just need you to mess up, and then they can kind of play this through. The Hui's range as well is going to make this a bit untenable for Utica. You can't just sit there and look for the perfect engage anymore. It's got to be go right away. If not, Hui's going to poke you down for days. And again, Shicep split push threat. If the TP is up, her pushing will also cause you to be on a bit of a timer for the side of Utica.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned they can't look for the picture perfect engage, because it's okay if you only get the Jinx, right? If it's only the Hui, it could be problematic. But if the Jinx is around, you decide, hey, we're hitting the go button here. We got to get it done. So RMC, what are the win cons here out of Utica, right? When you take a look at these champions, like how are they going to be able to get the job done and take a victory here as we get on to Summoner's Rift?
Well, if we're talking about the team, the roster as a whole, their win con has traditionally been their bot lane Madlock and London, and with the Livers duel as well, they've got the strength to do that. Compositionally, though, I am looking for smooth traffic in that top lane. I need to see that Malphite find the engage, like you were talking about. Again, just find the Jinx. If you shut down Broad Coma, your team might be able to play that through. So that's where my eyes are looking at.
We're seeing Utica show up in this bot lane here, and I like this. Make a little cheese play happen. It would be pretty sweet. Honestly, RMC, is there a case to have them all just sit down here until Converse's bot lane shows up and you just 5v2 them?
Okay, till Converse bot lane shows up? No. If you try and 5v2 cheese, things could go very poorly. Converse has multiple carries. They have carries technically in every single lane, so you can't afford to do that. But the initial level 5-man rush into the bot side, we see that quite a bit, especially in a lane that needs to take control. So I like them doing that, so Madlock and London get to lane a little bit faster, and with the Jinx Milo, they're double range. If you can kind of force an all-in right from the get-go, you will win that trade. If you sit back and let the double range poke you, you're going to lose that. So I like this call from them.
Well, Dinosaur Chainsaw and Broad Coma stepping up here. We'll
Do they know?
see if that ends up being their undoing. Maybe they're not knowers. They do not appear to be knowers. Dinosaur Chainsaw is going to be the one to get engaged on. Opened with his shield, so mitigated some damage as Broad Coma is trading back on the Madlock and burning an early barrier here. Ignite goes down as well. They're just trading a bunch of auto attacks. Broad Coma, the heal is out. He's one auto away. He flashes away. London will be able to claim first blood, so it's the Utica bot lane striking.
I'm going to be honest, that was a lot closer than I expected. Yanni coming through, and I saw Broad Coma and Dinosaur Chainsaw step up. I was thinking, they know something I don't. Because, yeah, Jinx and Melee aren't supposed to win that level 1 all-in, and unfortunately for them, they didn't. Huge for Madlock in London, but unfortunately, Madlock will not be able to really grow that lead too much on this first blood. Has to go back right away. Traffic, early flash in lane.
Yeah, I was like, Shysept is on the opposite side of the lane right now. That's typically bad news for the opposing top laner. So things looking rough up there, but hey, you can hang your hat on what's going on in the bot lane. You get your support a little accelerated. Perhaps that means London will be able to get out boots earlier and then move around the map. And all of a sudden, Utica's got a floater.
Traffic.
Speaking of traffic, is about 2 auto attacks away from death. Make it 1. This Shysept closes out a kill.
Okay, that's going to be super painful because Malphite can afford to go down in terms of CS, but he doesn't want to fall behind in experience. Oh my goodness. Risen is just...
Yeah, Veritas is going to be forced out of his jungle here. Stunned up. Not going to look for anything more, but Dinosaur Chainsaw and Broad Coma are here. Could set it up for a smite fight. London sees he's got a 3-minute knockup available. The smite, I believe it goes over to Veritas, but he will end up falling anyway.
I was very, very concerned. Veritas kind of going in and just really trying to confirm that one there. It has put his bot lane in a bit of a risky situation as well, though. Thankfully, no wave for a dive.
Dinosaur Chainsaw. Just disrespectful pathing there. It goes down. I mean, we talked about it, RMC, that London and Madlock are the ones that you need to watch out for, and you just can't do that to them.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you had waited for your wave, if you had pushed your wave in, set it up properly for the turret dive, yeah, it's risky. But Dinosaur Chainsaw, you're not an engaged support. You're not that tanky. You can't just be wandering off on your own in the middle of an enemy minion wave. Got picked, and Madlock actually, or pardon me, London actually the one securing the kill this time. And yeah, this bot lane can be risky. For Converse, just play away from it. You don't have to go down there. Jinx isn't about winning, it's about skill enough.
Well, it's also about fighting right now as 8th Risen is on the way. Madlock level 4. Nice flash there on the knockup. London's going to get the double knockup to try to get Madlock out of there, but Madlock wants to fight. Barrier is out. Broad Coma goes down. They keep getting the Converse bot lane.
Yeah, and even worse is that the one who's dying in Converse's bot lane, it's Broad Coma on these all-ins. This Jinx, look, if Dinosaur Chainsaw dies, it's not the end of the world. Broad Coma can still farm. But when your AD carry keeps dying, look at the CS differential. Broad Coma's only picked up 10 CS to Madlock's 27.
Yeah, this is not what we expected out of the bot lane here, RMC. We expected something a little bit closer. That said, it's been the status quo everywhere else at this point. Shysept absolutely putting on a bully-like performance. Went back with that kill gold and got a call.
And Shysept, the player who, has been quietly kind of just making waves in Tier 3, right? He played as Lotus's substitute, played in Game Changers as well last year. And she is a carry player. We saw a couple of bans, at least one full topside ban, and another, 2 bans. The Yone could potentially have been aimed at topside, same with the Poppy. It's not enough. It doesn't shut Shysept down whatsoever, and she can and will become a threat.
And then Dinosaur Chainsaw once again exchanging blows, and that's the benefit that you get out of Xayah Rakan, just being able to slide over.
I'm more curious if Veritas can kind of maybe make something happen in this bot lane. We see him roaming down right now, trying to look for a lane gank. And as far ahead as Madlock and London are, it's worth noting that Broad Coma has just gone for the call, and they're just playing safe. And trying to dive this Jinx Milio is where things get a little bit dicey. If you can't dive them, they just farm up anyways.
Veritas just hanging back and see what's going to happen in a fight. Here comes Veritas coming through.
Oh, perfect!
Right into the wall goes Broad Coma. The barrier, not enough to save him as they take a rock straight to the mouth. 0, 3, and 2 on this Jinx.
Barrier and heal burnt by Broad Coma and Dinosaur Chainsaw. And Yanni, we were talking about potential dives. Watching how clean that was from Veritas, Madlock, and London, Yeah, I think they can start looking to dive. And now, for Converse, your bot lane's a bit of a sunk cost. I want to see 8th Risen start getting some ganks into the other lane. Shysept has been dominating, but that hasn't converted to kills necessarily. If 8th Risen shows up, that's a kill. Scooter has been quietly just racking up CS as well in this mid lane once first items come through. Sejuani Hui ganks should convert as well onto squishies like Nika.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned mid lane because it's been quiet. Acorn, she's been having a bit of a hard time. Only 30 CS to her name. Really, it's a lot of the solo laners that have been having some problems for Utica, as we expected. But, you know, she's hanging tough. And once you hit level 6, obviously, the CS numbers don't really matter at that point. It's how you utilize your very impactful ultimate. And with 8th Risen heading to the bottom side here, I'd imagine that once they clear their bottom quadrant, they might have a look at Dragon, depending on how bottom lane shakes out.
Yeah, you really got to land that gank, though. If everything else is equal, Madlock and London will have so much more power and impact around this area. For now, though, 8th Risen not really just looking for the gank, trying to sneak away the Dragon. Broadcoma dodges out in the engage.
Yep, the Chompers are out. You see a little bit of damage going down. Broadcoma getting quite aggressive and will get rooted and take a lot of damage for it. Just sloppy play out of the bottom lane of Converse.
But they get the show. And I think that's really all Converse cared about, was just make sure Madlock and London can't rotate out. While the Dragon's being done, Veritas hasn't really been able to find anything. The Void Grubs already went down, so the great start from Utica, but Converse is slowly starting to make their way back in.
8th Risen still just has a bunch of camps up, and it looks like they'll clear top to bottom. Almost level 6, so once they get there, they'll have that Glacial Prison to root somebody up and make the ganks quite a bit easier. 8 minutes into the game, and we're even, RMC. Must say, give a lot of credit to the Utica bot lane, as Madlock is now level 6, which does mean the increased threat of a kill is active down there.
Yeah, for now though, because Broadcom and Dinosaur's Chainsaw are being shoved in, Veritas not in the area, I think we'll be okay. Gotta track these junglers and where they want to go since they are level 6, I say that. And Dinosaur Chainsaw instant eats poke. Veritas will get spotted on the ward.
Yeah, and that's really good stuff here from Converse. Good warding. Veritas just not using the sweep at the right time, so means that plan's going to get foiled, and that means there's going to be a counter gank on the top side out of 8th Risen. Traffic used his ultimate to try to get away, and then had to burn his flash.
Yeah, that's really painful for Traffic. He's not going to be able to step up. Shysept could also just look to run him down with the boots of swiftness as well. Mid lane.
Swiftness boots? Jeez.
Yeah, Shysept really doesn't want Traffic to get away. Mid lane, we're seeing Scooter just get a ton of turret plays right now. Those early Void Grubs are doing work. Veritas?
Veritas coming in, taking a pretty good angle here. Broadcoma not up against the wall, able to flash and dodge the impale. Now they're looking for the turnaround as Madlock is down pretty low. With Veritas in the area, it's hard for the Converse bot lane to do much more.
We're seeing the benefits of the Milio pick as well. The fact that even if Veritas had landed the stun, it kind of doesn't matter. He can cleanse away right immediately as soon as it goes down, and Broadcoma will be able to play that out. And you can see the Jinx range come into play as well. She's able to fire rockets into the back of Utica. It's all in or bust for this bot lane right now, and unfortunately, that one bust.
See Acorn doing what they can, Spiraling Despair coming out just to try to force them to back. Scooter just really wants to take this other plate. I mean, we're 10 minutes in and he's almost taken 4.
And that's the thing about League of Legends. Kills are exciting, but they don't decide game. Traffic? Okay.
Shysept already knocked Traffic into the wall, but she's getting a police escort into this turret right now to take these plates. There's no Traffic involved.
Traffic is TP. He can get right back into it. Will still lose a plate, and Shysept actually not gonna stick around and try and maximize that. You're gonna go back to base and make sure that you don't accidentally get hit by a gank. They don't have eyes on Veritas right now.
More good warding out of the bot lane of Utica. You know what? These guys have shown why they are the crown jewel of this team. Just getting down good vision and making sure that they are in a position to not die, right? Because if things go badly down there, I mean, it's just going to get out of control. But speaking of out of control, Scooter, who has a shutdown just based off minions, is now up here. Shysept with no teleport is running back, but you mentioned that reset. We'll see if 8th Risen is able to do anything. First grub goes over to Utica, but that does mean Void Mites will be secured by Converse.
Yeah, unfortunately, you need to deny away all 3 if you don't want the little voidlings to spawn nowadays. And you know what? Props to Veritas for stealing away that one grub and not overstaying his welcome.
Here we go. Double charm coming out. Broad Coma getting quite low.
Heals.
A couple more auto attacks. The shields, it's too much, but the ultimate coming down
There's
from
no
Madlock.
pullback!
One more auto attack, and they will be able to get the job done. Now they look for Dinosaur Chainsaw, who takes a couple. Last hurt shot onto London takes him pretty low, but they're going to cut the wave, which means Dinosaur Chainsaw could be in trouble soon. That wave is going to take some time to get there.
8th Risen is trying to sprint across the map right now. Dinosaur Chainsaw
Dinosaur
stepping up.
Chainsaw, he greeted for that ward. Luckily,
He's
he
buying
knows
time,
he'll be
though.
able to get out, but oh no, he won't be able to get out. Madlock doing a great job there. Now 4-1. Is 8th Risen going to take this fight? So
Rocket.
Death Rocket chunks him both very low, and it lands flush onto the Zaya. Nothing that can be done. London tried, and London Bridge did fall down.
Dinosaur Chainsaw. Sure, he did ultimately go down, but Yanni, the entire goal was to hold Madlock and London there. It's not ideal, the kill distribution, but you take what you get, and Converse are still making sure that they don't fall too far behind in this bot side of the map while maintaining their dominance on the top side. 8th Risen now with that gank to the bot lane. 4-0-0. 80% of the kills are on this Sejuani, on this jungler.
Yeah, absolutely having a ball out there as 8th Risen. Just, it feels like they've been everywhere except for pretty much mid lane. It's been rather uninteractive. The interaction might start here. Spiraling Despair lands onto Acorn, and it's going to do a hell of a lot of damage at this point. London is here, but there are many more members of the Red squad around to make sure he doesn't do anything fancy.
Acorn has teleport available. Dragon has spawned. And unfortunately, Acorn not able to recall and actually get in position to contest this. So very, very risky for Utica. They're looking for now, though. Converse going to see this one away. They don't fully want to commit to this.
Yeah, it looks like Scooter may be more interested in getting this turret. You can see the pressure is starting to really get to Converse, especially through the spot lane. Madlock is really strong right now, even though he's just got one completed item. See, they're trying to pick on Dinosaur Chainsaw a little bit. The problem is that Utica can't even start this dragon.
Yeah, and we said it before. Utica, Matlock, London, they've done a fantastic job in the early game. But being safe is not enough. Staying alive isn't good enough. You need to accelerate the game. 8th Risen. He's tanky enough. He'll be fine.
Oh, traffic just a little short, but the impale lands on the Scooter. Scooter gets charmed, and Scooter will go down. It's a shutdown, and now it's 8th Risen in trouble. Double shutdowns going over to the Malphite.
I was wrong. 8th Risen was not okay. Scooter getting picked. 8th Risen tried to protect his AD carry. It didn't work. And now Utica, we were just saying they need to accelerate the game. Staying even, not dying, wasn't good enough. They needed to get the kills. They needed to get these objectives, and they're doing just that. They can try and pull up in the bot lane as well. Broad Coma and Dinosaur Chainsaw have to be careful about a dive. If Veritas and Traffic, if they want to just move in for this.
I love that Broad Coma's getting real aggressive. Flash forward. Madlock getting very, very low. Drops the ultimate down in Veritas. Not going to be able to slam anybody against the wall, but Dinosaur Chainsaw falls. But Scooter has shown up and is smacking him in the ankles right now. Veritas is an auto away from death. That'll go over to Broad Coma, and Converse cleans it up.
And we were talking about Acorn TP for that fight. Now it was Scooter's TP for the cleanup. That was huge. Getting some of those assists onto Broad Coma as well. Getting some kills for Scooter is going to be massive. Meanwhile, the mid lane turret did drop as well. So Converse winning out across the board, accelerating even more as they pick up this Herald. There's only one outer still standing for the side of Utica.
The good news for Utica, it's 9 kills to 9. The bad news is that means they don't know that they're down almost 5,000 gold, right? And it's going to get a little bit worse once the Surf Herald goes into the pocket of Converse, because sure, anybody on their squad will be happy to have it. I really want to know what Traffic is going to do with those 2 shutdowns. I mean, you know, you hope that they would have went elsewhere, but it does mean that Shysep should have a bit of a harder time trying to deal damage, as well as Broad Coma.
You know, AP Malphite honestly wouldn't have been terrible in the Converse.
Yeah, at that point, I'm getting double shutdowns, and I'm like, guys, I'm selling my items, and I have a lost chapter. Here we go.
Yeah, or something like Abyssal Mask. Unfortunately, it doesn't match well into Gnar.
Oh my
Madlock.
goodness, the Spiraling Despair. Is it going to be enough on the burst? It is. Scooter is just scooting around everywhere, getting kills in bottom and mid.
And that ult was so aptly named. Madlock just knows they were dead, but it took so long to proc. No defensive abilities available. Barrier still down. And unfortunately, the Feather Storm as well. Acorn!
Goodness.
That's not even the ult. That's just poke.
Yeah, the Severing Bolt is ridiculous if you're the only one standing there. Unfortunately, most people don't know that if 2 people stand in there, you take less damage. But Scooter is starting to...
Wait!
Oh my goodness. I was going to say Scooter is starting to flirt with a Flame Horizon pre-20 minutes, but Scooter is just flirting with kills all around the map.
Okay, if 100 CS up is a Flame Horizon, but what's like 10 kills more than your late opponent?
Who's really good at getting kills? Why don't we have a name for... Oh my goodness. Dinosaur Chainsaw. That was disgusting. He stopped them both. Why don't we have a name like that for Faker? Like anything that Faker does.
The Faker Horizon. I feel like we need a name for that because it's a very real possibility this game. At the rate Scooter's going, his snipes are on point. His laning phase was very, very quiet. But now that it's over, now that he's got not just one, he completed his 2nd item as well. Now that he's ready to go, I'm scared for anybody on Utica who tries to lane into him. We don't think of Hwei as a split pusher, but I think Scooter could get away with it.
Yeah, honestly, even if traffic shows up, he's going to take a bunch of damage. He's only got armor.
Yeah. Oh, they're looking for Scooter, though. This is kind of risky. 1v2.
They have
I don't fancy those odds, Yanni.
All right, well, we'll see if they like those odds.
Yeah, there you go.
Feared away is London, and now the engagement comes down. Madlock forced to use his ultimate, trying to get away, but slowed up pretty badly. The root coming in, doing quite a bit. Veritas is here. Scooter with the flash. Means 8th Risen was picked up. Double Impale going down, but not on priority targets. As 8th Risen is just so damn tanky. Acorn flashing forward, but misses the Pop Blossom, and Scooter gets the kill in return.
And you gotta feel for Acorn. That was an almost perfect engage. She had the engage since the beautiful flash over, but a fire kick from Dinosaur Chainsaw just says nope to everything. And that's not the first time we've seen that. Dinosaur Chainsaw did it once in the mid lane. He's done it again. And for Utica, this Milio is turning out to be their biggest bane.
It's been such a good pick. We talked about how Utica likes to go in, RMC, but we failed to mention how Milio is just so good to stop them. We talked about it in the bottom lane. We didn't really talk about it anywhere else.
Yeah, because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't thinking about it necessarily anywhere else. I was thinking more about, okay, using the Milio ult to get out. But you don't need to use the Milio ult if the enemy can't even get in, and it's creating so much space for this Hwei, for this Jinx. And every time Utica try and force a fight like that, every time Converse just shut the door in their face, Converse gets so much more out of it. That's the top side inner turret gone down to Herald. Meanwhile, mid and bot, they're just getting absolutely slammed right now.
It's a rough world here for Utica, just desperately trying to hang on to their mid-inner turret. Scooter was sieging their bot inner for a little bit, but has since backed off as the dragon is coming up in about 10 seconds. We'll see if Converse wants to float back to that. It's only 1 dragon apiece for both of these clubs, so nothing too concerning when it comes to dragon stacking. Shysep going to TP with the team. Has a Narbar almost all the way up right now as she's going to chase forward. She wants to proc that one real soon. Utica is afraid to go in.
Yeah, they're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you don't team fight, your comp doesn't get stronger. But they have no vision. So they're scared to walk in. If they lose here, it could just be game over. That would be a 10k gold differential before Baron even spawns.
Shysep just looking to keep herself heated. Okay. The dragon has gone down, and now they're going to go full engage onto Scooter, who is wrong place, wrong time. A big shutdown going over to the Xayah. The Spiraling Despair did a little bit of damage. Shysep trying to get even closer. Good flash. Knocks them both back into the wall. Madlock needs to try to get away with the double impale. Do they have enough to take down Shysep? She's so damn tanky, and she does a lot of damage too. And the rest of the squad has showed up, and Madlock's like, dude, where's my team? As they fall, a double kill for Broad Coma. Acorn on the side. They had the pop, but there was no Blossom there. A triple kill for Broad Coma.
And Broad Coma's out of the coma. He's well and truly awake at this point, taking over with just an infinity edge, but the resets are massive. And we said this before, Yanni, you lose that fight, and you're looking at a 10k gold difference. We said it before Baron. I think it might be worse that they delayed, because now Baron goes into Converse's pocket with the dragon, with the gold lead, and for Utica, it might just be that time to win out.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for them. They just can't scrap at this point. It's a 9,000 gold, or 9,500 gold deficit. It's now over 10k. Baron suited up for Converse. So they're going to look to redeploy on the map, and they have some good turrets still to take. That mid-inner turret, that bottom-inner turret. We talked about the split pushing power of Shysep. It seems like it's just a 4-1 angle to victory, RMC.
Yeah, they could go 1-3-1 if they wanted. We talked about how strong Scooter is. If Utica commit the resources that you need to take him out, and we saw it took out 3 members in that last fight to do so, you're just going to lose the rest of your base. 100 dead.
Oh, super mega death throw. Oh my god, London. So close to going down. Still manages to stay alive. And now Madlock is in a bit of a weird spot. Got hit with the zap as well. It just gets blown up from half HP.
That wasn't even a super mega death rocket. That was just a
regular
rocket.
death rocket.
You know what? That I'm calling the auto super mega death rocket right now. That hit harder than the super mega death rocket on London did.
That hit so hard that they might actually use that as the opening clip to Arcane Season 2. As Converse is now sieging this mid inhibitor turret. They have Shysept on the bottom side as well. Turret down to about half HP as Veritas can't really do a thing. Traffic taken down super low and will end up falling. All the armor of the world ain't gonna save you as London trying to go back in, just trying to get a charm down, but only onto one. Veritas is gonna fall next as they're going down like dominoes, RMC. Broad Coma getting some revenge for earlier in the game.
Yeah, the skilling for Converse is well and truly online at this point, and the pick onto Madlock just felt like the icing on the cake. The moment he was down, Utica just lacked the damage. They're just dotting their eyes, crossing their T's now.
Why do you gotta do that? They're not even doing that. They're doing calligraphy on it right now. As Madlock without the barrier would have went down there. The Nexus getting very low. Just end this game, Converse. Let them keep their KDAs. As Converse absolutely smacking up Utica in game 1.
Yeah, and you know what? Converse was expected to win. That was the expectation coming into it, and they did just that. They delivered exactly as promised. But I want to talk a little bit about Utica, Yanni, because there were moments where there was hope for this team. Madlock and London, especially in the laning phase. That bot lane cannot be disrespected again. And I don't think we'll see that from Broad Coma and Dinosaur Chainsaw. Yes, they popped off later, but the laning was a little bit rocky. But even for the rest of the team as well, that critical fight where everything fell apart in the mid game, that dive that came through, it ended up looking quite bad for Utica. But I actually do think that it was the right call at that time. We were talking about they needed to find an angle. And I love that they were willing to dive to get the kills. The problem was what came after and how they ended up fighting in the turret. Now, if they can clean that up a bit, I'm not going to say that will win them a game, Yanni. But maybe it'll win them a fight. And win enough fights, maybe you get the game.
So, I'm with you on that, but here's the problem, RMC. They've already proven themselves not to be trifled with in the bottom lane, which means that Broadcomb and Dinosaur Chainsaw are going to take this bottom lane much more seriously going into game 2. I imagine Coach Sonatona not very happy about the way things went down there. So we could see something potentially even worse because Utica solo laners, it was just a really rough experience for them. I think they need to pick champions that are better individual laners that are in the wheelhouse of these players in order to make sure that it's not as one-sided. They gave too much gold over to Shysept and Scooter, and it became a problem later.
Yeah, fair enough. And especially I'm looking at the top side for Traffic, the Mel fight. We saw Shysept get the solo kill and was just perma-pressing on that top side the entire time. The funny thing is that Traffic's most played, or what he played the most last week was actually a Renekton. A bit more of a lane bully. And while if a Renekton falls behind, it feels a lot worse than a Mel fight that's fallen behind, at the same time, you shouldn't fall behind quite as badly as you would on a Mel fight. So that is a potential option that perhaps Utica might look into for game 2.
Yeah, we'll see what they do as they're going to head back to the drawing board, and we're going to head to the BRB screen as we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll give you the Game 2 draft, which could be the final draft of this best-of-3 series between Converse Gold and Utica. Don't go anywhere.
been destroyed. Red team double kill. Killing spree.
Thanks for sticking with us through what ended up being a little bit of an extended break. It's Yanni and
Yeah.
RMC still here, bringing you esports news coverage of the ECC Fall 2024 regular season for League of Legends. Game 1 was a overwhelming Converse victory, RMC. We talked about it a lot. We also talked about how the Utica's bot lane, though, did show up pretty well. And we'll see how things go for Game 2. What are you expecting after we've had some time to marinate, stew on it a little bit?
Well, Yanni, we've had a bit of a longer break, so both teams have had time to kind of work through what happened in Game 1. And as well as Converse played, they weren't faultless. As you mentioned, Sean probably not super happy with how the bot lane kind of went, so expect them to kind of pick that up. And that makes Game 2 interesting, because if Utica try and just double down on what made them good in Game 1, sort of the early game, the decisiveness, the plays they were making, I think that could backfire really, really badly if Converse kind of cleans up the early game a little bit. So if anything, as weird as it might sound, I actually expect Converse, despite having won, to play better this game too. And for Utica, I just want to see what they've got up their sleeves, because if you've got any tricks, now's the time to pull them.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just hanging on to them until next week, and at that point you shouldn't really need the tricks anymore. I will say that I am very much in agreement with you here. I think that Converse is going to come out looking more sharp than they have. I expect that, maybe we'll get some for fun champions. Shysep's Rengar was unbanned, and she's known for playing Rengar top lane, and obviously into a Malphite would be pretty bad. But she loves playing that champion. She might end up picking that. Scooter's got a ton of picks. Obviously, he could have picked the Yasuo, elected not to. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what these teams are able to bring out RMC as we are into the draft here, Utica versus Converse. We'll see if we see a lot of the same bans this time around.
And it's interesting, Utica has opted still for the blue side, despite having lost on the blue side. Now, I don't disagree with that necessarily. I don't know if there is a counter pick that you can really play for Utica's side against Converse solo laners. So, blue side's fine. If anything, I think Prio onto the bot lane. The Rakan Zaya worked really, really well for them, but I would like to see a secondary threat. Unfortunately for Acorn, the Nico short range into Milio Jinx just was not it.
Yeah, when we're seeing some of the same bans this time around,
Yep.
Poppy going to be the first one to fall, and then Vi in response. So, Converse answering appropriately, but you did say it. There was just not enough damage on the Utica team composition, so they're going to need to go in with a little bit more. I just don't know where they're going to get it from. They need to really get it from top lane, I think. I really like the Skarner pick out of Veritas, and I think if they have the opportunity to pick it again, they should.
Yep, and I'm not expecting Converse, actually, I'm not expecting them to swap up bans too much, but they're already going to the Nocturne second ban instead of a third ban. We'll have to see if maybe that's because they wanted to swap up the last ban there. For Utica, though, what is there to really change? I do think all their bans last game, the Poppy, Yone, and Jax, were all solid bans to come through. Nothing wrong with those bans. You're taking away the carries. And from what we saw last game, the problem is, do we really think Nara's a bigger problem than Jax?
Well, if they think
I
so,
thought they did well.
I think they'll be wrong. Utica is going to ban away that Nara. I mean, Jax is a blindable top laner, so
True.
Utica does have the opportunity to pick it first here if they want, but I don't know if that's in Traffic's wheelhouse, as Skarner's going to be the last ban. I think Converse is smart to make that adaptation.
Yeah, fully agree with you there. I do think that the Nautilus we can let through. But Veritas has shown on the Skarner that he's really good. Now, he can still go on to things like J4 if he wants to engage, or, he's still got the picks like Shinjao and Udyr as well if he just wants to be able to brawl as hard as he did back in Game 1. So still a lot of options for Veritas. He's not pinched by any means. Yanni, it's not quite the Jax, but I'll take the Renekton. We called for a bigger carry for Traffic, and we're going to get to see it.
Yeah, and you know what? I am super excited about it because this means that Shysep's at least going to be challenged, right? You gave her a free lane last time around. No free rides. If you're going to get some kills, you're going to have to earn them against a very powerful champion. Got to be honest with you, I kind of want to see Traffic take an Ignite.
I wouldn't hate it. Well, let's see what Shysep opts to kind of run into it first. If you end up just going for like a scaling threat. Yeah, the Ignite could still work. I do like the idea. What excites me though for now is Broad Coma not opting for that scaling Jinx pick. The Kaisa is a lot more active, and we saw what Broad Coma could do with the Jinx. Imagine what he can do on a Playmaker.
This is an early Galio pick. RMC, I've been playing League of Legends a long time. Pay attention to the high level of League of Legends. I cannot for the life of me figure out why they're going with a Galio on R2 when there's only a Renekton ship.
Flex. It could still be a support Galio. That was something
Sure,
that we started
I
seeing.
still don't think that's an appropriate time to pick that champion. I think Converse is getting a little silly in their draft here and maybe just playing stuff that they want to play. Seraphine Jinzhao on the other side for Utica. I really like this Jinzhao pick, especially with the Renekton. Like, this is a very powerful early game jungler that if you have one or two strong lanes, you can go ahead and gank. You can go ahead and make things happen and use your sheer damage output to take early advantages. Actually, really favor Utica's team composition, at least right now.
Especially with the Seraphine mid. We saw a lot of, sort of shielding, healing, supportive mid laners with Xin Zhao in the past, and this is it. That top side of the map should be very strong for Utica, Yanni, and normally I would say like that's the side they want to play for, or that's the side that's going to kind of blow the game open, but for Utica, because the top side of the map is the weaker half of their roster, I still have some reservations about how they're going to balance out the jungle attention and the resource allocation when Madlock and London have traditionally been your big carries. I see your smile, Yanni, and I see the hovers coming through from Shisept.
Oh my goodness. Oh, she locked in Alawi!
Oh, let's go!
Oh my goodness. Alawi going to be the pickup here for Shisept in the top lane against a Renekton. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was like super excited to see the Rengar. I don't think I've ever seen her play Alawi in my life, and I watch her stream quite a bit.
Well, Yanni, you'll see it here, and you're talking about an Ignite for Renekton. Unironically, not a bad choice whatsoever to be able to deal with that Alawi later or post 6. It's going to be rough. Utica rounding out their composition, though, with a very low attention bot lane. You don't need to be yanking a Braum Ashe. It is one of the stronger 2v2 combos that you can potentially play with, and it's got pretty good scaling as well to pair with the rest of the team. Still a very strong team fighting composition coming through from Utica.
Well, I guess the Galio just makes sense because Scooter seemed to just know that Acorn was going to pick a magic damage dealing champion as the bottom lane is the last one to go through the Ashe Braum. Really strong combination. There is potential for Dinosaur Chainsaw and Broadcoma to struggle into that, but they can also just kind of sit back, hang out, and chill. And I think it's really what Converse wants to do early on this game. Make sure that Veritas doesn't leverage his huge early game strength to make things happen, because you can go top lane or you can go bottom lane based on the champions you have.
I hear what you're saying, Yanni, and my color brain agrees with you. But my caster heart is saying, I'm looking at that comp from from Converse right now. I'm not seeing any chill come through. Yes, they could sit back. I don't think they will. We saw, what was it, a level 1 fight with a Jinx last game coming through from Broadcoma right from the get-go. With the Kaisa, it's not great, but it's a better level 1. And I do think with the composition they have, I expect Converse to play very, very aggressively. And that's actually an opportunity for Utica. Because on one hand, sure, Converse could very easily, quickly just snowball the game and end the game pre-20 minutes with the comp they have. But when you're playing an aggressive comp like that, if you make mistakes, every mistake is an opportunity for Utica to try and bounce back in. And with the Ashe, with the Seraphine, like, extended fights do tend to go their way. They have a bit more of a margin of error with their composition.
Yeah, the problem is if Utica falls too far behind early with their early game slanted composition, they will be in a bad way. We have made it on to Summoner's Rift here for what could be the final game of this best of 3 series. So we're in game 2 with Converse up 1-0. Utica doing very similar things this time around, sending 5 in the bottom lane, but they are moving this time around, so no wards down from Converse, which is a little bit of a surprise because they got wards down last time and it immediately paid off. They got early kills.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, and I guess Utica doesn't want to be overly consistent, The cheese works best when you don't know when or whether or not they're actually going to be there, but this time, yeah, Madlock and London are like, it's fine, it's chill. Scooter walking into this one, though.
Oh, Scooter could find himself in trouble, mostly because it's really hard to get away from those two, but he is able to just walk it out.
He will, however, still be starting lane at half health, and Seraphine can be rather annoying. Her poke isn't the highest, but her base damage is pretty decent to start with, and unfortunately for Scooter, he won't have time to recall. They're seeing topside traffic and Shisept though going at it, and Yanni, because of the Alawi pick, this is kind of where my eye is drawn to right now, this particular top lane matchup.
Yeah, and you can see Shisept has already gotten early advantages over Traffic. Traffic opted into that teleport. Makes sense for competitive play, but just means that this lane is going to be very, very painful. I don't know. Oh my goodness, dude. This is just... starting to get ridiculous. The chunking that's coming out.
They're
Shycept
level
is gonna,
1!
yeah, Shycept is just like, I'm level 2 now. Like, I'll come
True.
and get you.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, I know I'm Canadian. I'm not as familiar with the States, but Annie, I've been told, Crocs are a very common thing in Florida.
Yes.
So if Shycept is beating up the Croc, does that make Shycept the Florida man?
That makes her Florida woman, yes. It absolutely makes Shycept Florida woman. I mean, you never lose a fight to a Croc if you are from Florida. So we'll see. There's always a chance that she does end up losing the fight to the Croc because you don't lose the fight to the Croc until you lose the fight to the Croc.
I'll take your word for it. I'm just saying, I'm not seeing an Ignite up there. And for now, Shycept is certainly just beating on to traffic as well. Even under turret, one of the annoying things with Alawi is because of tentacle range as well. When you're melee trying to farm under turret, you're not actually that safe. You can see, yeah, he's just getting challenged repeatedly.
Pain and injury. My goodness.
Is this animal abuse? Do we need to call PETA?
No, this is a car crash here for traffic because the dude is just absolutely congested up here with Shycept playing this full court press. Dude stuck under his turret, less than 200 HP, 3 minutes into the game. I mean, he's not down that much CS, but Shycept being level 4 actually unironically has kill threat here.
Yeah. Ooh. If that had landed, I do think Shycept would have gone in. We do need to take a quick look at the other lanes, though. Already, Converse finding leads in the other lanes. And this is a little bit what we talked about. Broad, Coleman, Dinosaur, Chainsaw are playing the bot lane a lot safer, and they're actually calling 8th Risen down now. So we might even get to see a 3v3 come through. Veritas sticks his head out.
Veritas has been spotted out. 8th Risen is right here. Let's see if he can get the channel stun off. Not quite. Veritas forced the flash away, but he wants a little bit more. His bot lane's got to pick up that wave.
Yeah, Scooter even cheating a little bit towards that bot side. You see the missing ping came down, and Converse is saying, hey guys, I have no control over this mid lane either. And speaking of the mid lane, Scooter, again, doing exactly what he did last game, which is just pressure on as much as he can in mid lane, perma-shove the entire time. Now, Scooter does have a lot lower health than he did last game on the way. It's a little bit more dangerous for the Gallo to shove out. So I'd love to see Veritas come and try and punish this lane.
I wonder if Scooter's going to dive here. The root does come out. He's going to land the taunt, the Justice Punch.
Is he going first?
No! Acorn with the flash, picking up first blood.
Evergreen, this Seraphine. Acorn plays a lot of Seraphine, a lot of Nico. And sure, while trying to play aggressively, it can be a little bit tough, but defensively, excellent play. And you could tell Acorn was waiting for it the entire time. That flash, the moment Scooter actually got any damage down, Acorn's flashing away.
All right, Acorn sprouting now. We'll see if she's able to make some big plays happen, because listen, when she hits level 6, it's not like you've got a Braum on the other team that's going to stop the encore. You hit some big encores. I mean, all of a sudden, you're cooking with gas. These Converse early games have been, they've been pressing so much. They're so disrespectful.
Yeah, and Utica is just taking advantage of it every single time. TP into the mid lane from Acorn, kind of matching what Scooter did, and coming back with Faded Ashes as the first item. Not what I expected. And you know what? Scooter kind of getting away a little bit, even after having it up first blood, since Faded Ashes won't help that much in the 1v1 laning.
I actually like that Faded Ashes, mostly because you've got plenty of damage coming from the Jinzhou Renekton and enough from the Ashe that you just need some magic damage, and to be able to cut through a Galio as he gets tankier later in the game. Lowy gets tankier later in the game, Having a Blackfire Torch or something like that will be very good, whether it's Blackfire, whether it's Leandry's, either of those.
Yeah, I think Leandry's probably my choice this game, and I suspect we'll see if
Could
Acorn
be
goes
both.
that way. True, you could build both if you wanted to. Converse, though, for now, not even worried about the mid lane whatsoever. Scooter had the pressure there. They've got the pressure bot as well, and with the strength that they have on this bot half the map, they get a completely uncontested dragon. Veritas couldn't even look at it.
Ouch. Shycept is now level 6. So that leap of faith is going to hurt. She's got a Sheen in the back pocket as well. So we're just waiting for her to muscle her way to a kill. But so far, so good for the side of Utica, as they're looking to make an aggressive play down here. 8th Risen in the area. Could see a potential re-engage. Double knockup does land. The shield is out from London, trying to protect his teammates as 8th Risen is looking for the angle. Will be able to get the sun up on the Ashe. Braum going to do the stand behind me. Barrier burned by Madlock as they're still waiting to turn. 8th Risen poked low and forced away.
Once again, London providing an immaculate just disruption, making sure that Converse can't quite chase them down. But on the other hand, props for Converse for trying to play around the Braum. You can see that London took no damage. And that actually is the firing discipline that we're seeing from Converse to try and play around the tanky member. It's working to a certain extent.
Whoa. London is going in to try to make a
The
play
heel
happen,
step.
but 8th Risen is already back. Stun goes down,
great
but a
sidestep.
good sidestep. London is already so
Rock
Broad
Coma!
Coma flash forward, and they, oh my goodness, Madlock might be able to make the play happen. Broad Coma super low. They already got 8th Risen, so once again, Utica playing strong defense.
Wait, they're almost 6. There is a world in which Matlock hits 6. Can London stop the recalls?
Let's see.
Okay. No.
Couldn't stop the second recall, so wow, this is Utica once again showing prowess in their bot lane. We weren't expecting a strong prowess in their mid lane, and now Veritas is going to have an opportunity to get onto these Void Grubs.
It's just so unfortunate. Broadcomb and Dinosaur Chainsaw, they played the early game so well, so patiently, and then it just feels like they
And their
overchased.
jungler died.
Wait, what on earth happened to London?
I guess he was just trying to shove the wave in, saw that people were showing up and decided to execute, so I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yep, that would make sense. I mean, he is dying behind turret with no backup, so very, very likely. And as you mentioned, Veritas taking grubs in the meantime. Shystep getting two plates on that turret on the top side for now. Arrow comes across and just barely, unfortunately, it's a bit slow. Shystep was already leaving by the time he came across.
I was going to say, just barely, RMC. That arrow was about as far as apart as you and I. No, I'm in New Jersey and you're in Canada.
But our hearts are next to
pretty
each
far.
other, aren't they, Yanni?
Honestly, yes. Our hearts are in this game of League of Legends right now. You couldn't see anything more beautiful at this point, except for really Utica's early game, despite the fact that they're down a couple hundred gold. You know, this is a team that we knew going into this match they were going to be on the back foot, having to deal with the nonsense of Converse and the, you know, at least rank-wise, apparent superior players. Well, Utica has made some of these high-ranked players look very silly.
Yeah. And we talk about, sure, a couple hundred gold down is next to nothing, pretty much. At that point, when you're talking about that, 300 gold can't even buy you a Duran's item. And you look at the CS differentials that we're seeing between the two teams, and I think Utica has done a fantastic job by keeping even. That
Smited
might
away by
change,
8th
though.
Risen. And Veritas is going to find out real quick that people
no.
are around the side. He's going to be able to pick up the kill, and now Acorn might be the target here. His 8th Risen and Scooter in hot pursuit
She's
right
got
now.
flash.
Slow is out. Acorn was just barely able to survive.
We jinxed it. I jinxed it. We're praising Utica a
No,
little bit
this
too
is a
much.
we. This is a we.
Yeah, and Converse turning on their strength a little bit. 8th Risen starting to go in. And that's the CS differential we're talking about, right? Sure, Utica has been able to answer with kills, but just the experience advantage that Converse is getting, the pressure advantage they're getting as well, is kind of panning out here in London. Trying to walk in and pressure, but zero fear. Broad Coma, Dinosaur Chainsaw, not even close.
Not even close, RMC. 10 minutes into the game, 1,000 gold lead for Converse, and listen, things are looking mighty fine for them. Shystep, almost a 30 CS lead. Taunt, Kiera, and Scooter's got enough health that the turret's not going to matter this time around. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, not so.
Yeah, I appreciate that Scooter was completely undeterred. Arrow?
Arrow off.
That one was close.
Just barely off with the flash forward coming in from Veritas. Looking to get a kill on the Scooter. The taunt goes out. Veritas, no flash to follow it up. Wind becomes lightning.
Oh!
Poke him in the butt. Take the kill.
Scooter had flash. Scooter flashed the entire time.
Scooter, what are we doing?
You know what?
I guess he was the holder for a flash taunt, which, I mean, you can't really do it as well anymore, right?
Yeah,
Like,
not
yeah,
about channeling, and he used the taunt for the shield already. You know what? Here's the thing. If Scooter gets into a fight in the next 5 minutes
Yeah.
and uses the flash word,
Perfect.
And-
yeah, it's good.
yeah, you can hold on to it. That's okay. Giving it to Veritas as well is not the end of the world. Normally, I kind of don't like giving the kills to a Xin Zhao because he doesn't scale up that much.
He's
But
teleporting to her tentacle.
Shystep, have mercy, man. Traffic just wanted, what's that, 2 gold? How much does Tentacle give?
Not the tentaport. And they give 5. I'm pretty
5
sure.
gold, okay. Well, 5
Hey,
gold
listen, they're
denied.
worth it. 3 of them's a caster minion. 3 of them's one of you.
I've never felt so valued. Both in a positive and negative way right now. I'm worth 3 tentacles.
Hey, listen, you're worth 3 tentacles. I would definitely trade you for 3 pieces of octopus
Calamari.
right now. So I'm quite hungry, but hungry for kills is Utica as they're going all the way in here and they catch Dinosaur Chainsaw and are able to take him out. Nice play.
But the rest of Converse is coming down right now. Scooter's already there.
Well, Scooter is going to be behind the fight a little bit here. He's got to try to find a way in. Veritas gets the 8th Risen here, down to about half HP. Arrow comes out, they get the kill, but Madlock is in trouble. And that means London's in trouble too. And now it's Veritas in the 2v1, but he's turning it around. He's able to pick up 1, and now he's going to look for Scooter next. Acorn is on the way. You just have to slow up Scooter, but Scooter is making moves, trying to get away. Maybe he's looking for an angle onto Acorn, but it's not going to happen. Another kill for Veritas, and Utica leads in kills 7-5, 4 onto Veritas.
And that's why I didn't mind that early kill onto Veritas, because again, normally Xin Zhao doesn't skill very well, but Veritas needs to make action happen now. And he managed to do that. He managed to clean house. That's massive. When there was a chance that Scooter could come in and clean up, and we saw it happen last game. When you give kills to Scooter on that way, he completely took over the mid game. This time, not going to be the case. Gets shut down once again, and this Galio just not having quite the same impact.
No, not at all. I'm sure later on in the game in these team fights it'll be pretty good, but right now it has been left a lot to be desired. This is why you don't pick Galio before you see anything else on the other side. Thing is, Converse are still getting things done. Shycept got a kill during all of that. There is 1 turret plating remaining up on the top side. They've gotten a couple turret plates in the mid lane, and 8th Risen is going to go in and pick up these grubs to even it up at 3 apiece.
Turret plating will fall.
And 8th Risen also picking up quite a few kills in that last cook-off on the bot side as well. Diego is a champion who probably is actually the biggest snowball champion on this Converse team, right? If he starts getting ahead, he can definitely take over a game. Now, interesting lane assignment. Scooter down into the bot side means Broadcomb is being left alone in the mid lane. If Utica want to dive this, it's going to be kind of risky, but I could actually kind of see it working, especially if Madlock can rain down a bunch of poke from range on these double melees first.
Well, Scooter found out that they were all there and has now been stunned up as they're looking to
there we
CC
go.
lock him. He's tanky, but he's not tanky enough as Madlock picks up a kill. What are they doing? Shycept is beating traffic right now like she's driving 90 miles an hour during rush hour because she's 2-0 right now, up 50 CS.
What can I say? Tentacles in ocean traffic, I guess. You just avoid all the freeways.
Yeah, she's in the Kaiju lane right now because she's an absolute monster at this point in the game.
6,500 gold, just shy of that.
Veritas, this
You
is
can't
not
take
a
this,
good
Veritas.
idea. This is not a good idea. Leap of Faith is on cooldown for right now, but Veritas walked in, lost almost all of his
He's gonna
HP.
die.
Veritas
Go
might
for it.
die here. Well, he gets smacked by the tentacle.
Oh.
First one dodges out, but you remember you have to dodge out of 2. It looks like that will be the case. He's going to walk it all the way back to base.
That is terrifying that Shycept is now basically able to 1v2. Yes, we knew she was the richest person on the map, but it's not even all combat stats yet. She's sitting on a tier. That's not a combat stat item. That's 400 gold invested in just killing, and it doesn't matter. Traffic just came back to lane.
She's going to take this turret, too.
Yeah.
She's in menace right now. Now, the Hex Gate is getting used. She did flash the arrow, but she's going to run into Veritas. Leap of Faith is still on cooldown for right now. She's a little low on mana, but with that frozen fish, she's going to have enough armor. The question is, can she survive? The answer is no. Big shutdown going over to the Xin Zhao.
The amount of resources it took, and while all that was happening, Broadcomb and Dinosaur Chainsaw, they managed to push that mid lane as well. And so, for Converse as a whole, they're still up ahead despite having their big juggernaut go down.
Madlock flashing forward. Broadcoma could be in
Landed
trouble.
behind.
Good ult to shift to the side. Madlock will survive. They will get their man.
I'm loving this from Utica right now. They are just all gas, no brakes. They're pushing all around. The roam's coming through. London coming from behind as well to secure that. And as much as we're talking about, okay, Converse, they are making good use of the pressure Shycept to put down. They are pushing out. The recent push actually left them a little bit exposed. They didn't have the ward line set up to deal with it. And now Utica finding these kills. It's not just the kills. It's the fact that they can actually maybe answer back on turrets, set up a little bit better vision around these objectives, and maybe look to contest this third Drake of the game.
The problem is, RMC, that Utica is still down about 3,000 gold. And Shycept might be picking up a kill here shortly and trade her turret for it. The slice is down, and because you went through nothing, you have no dice. You try to teleport away. Traffic taking a whole lot of damage. The ultimate coming down. Not enough to get the kill. He's
Look at
able
that
to
health
sneak
bar.
out of there.
It's so low! Traffic at the burn teleport and almost died to that. Any sort of priority they're trying to get over Dragon has just been cancelled by that play. And unfortunately, I want to highlight the Black Cleaver as well that Shycept picked up because she didn't have it the last time. In that
Yeah,
1v3
no,
situation.
she had no items at all toward it. She had no nothing in the build pack. You know, it's like
Yeah. Just straight
Ridiculous.
pick that up. That's terrifying. And now, if you 1v3 her, if she has Leap of Faith available, I think she could actually win. Like, straight
Yeah.
up survive and kill.
Yeah, you saw what she did to Traffic. Pretty bad news. Rift Herald in the back pocket of Eighth Risen, just waiting for a good opportunity to use it. This Dragon is going to be up in about 45 seconds. Converse didn't even really need to fight to get control of the river back. Utica just
Okay,
seeded
no
it,
leap of faith.
realizing they are weaker. Let's see if your theory can be put to the test. Shy Sept in a little bit of trouble with 4 members around her. They're doing a great job of staying away from her. And she will not be able to do anything. They made it look easy.
But again, what is this cost? That you get Shy Sept, but what are you going to lose for it? You lose the mid inner turret. Herald is being dropped bot side as well. Maybe they could even rotate and try and get 2. No, probably not. The turret was actually healthier than I thought it was. Still, that's 2 turrets for Shy Sept. And Yanni, that was 4
one
people.
turret right now.
Oh, surely we don't. Surely
Well,
we take this.
We'll see what Converse gives up in order to do this. So right now, Utica, a 4-man front near the mid lane. So they will give up that turret. They will secure themselves some river vision. Traffic at half HP with no Dominus available. So despite the fact that they're first into the river here, it might be a little testy. Traffic able to heal up a little bit. But Acorn is not in the area. It's a pincer maneuver, 2 on each side. Teleport coming in onto the weak side now. We've got a 3v2. It looks like Utica is going to be forced out of the river.
And in a way, good patience from Acorn to actually not blow the TP to get the team immediately. I don't think they'd have successfully burnt down the dragon in time, but holding the TP, can they make a play? There's no special TP wards to get through. They're going to have to front to back this from the side of Utica. A lot of their vision has been denied. They only have the 1 in the dragon pit.
Well, let's see what the move is here. Utica wants to fight their way back in. Dragon at 7,000 HP. Converse playing this one mighty slow. Dinosaur Chainsaw going in
Okay.
1. But here comes Galio, slamming onto 4. Acorn with a good ultimate. It's going to hit 3. Madlock on the backside is still alive for right now, and everybody got knocked up. But guess what? You don't have enough damage, and Acorn has to walk into 5. In the blink of an eye, Converse send Utica packing.
And you talk about Converse as the Demon Lord. You talk about Utica as the hero. Scooter says, I'm the hero here. I'm going to come into the entrance, and I'm going to show you Demon King be damned. I will beat my own team if I have to. And with that, Yanni, sub 20 minutes, they're going to crack the base.
Bad news there for Utica. It was looking so good for so long, but the problem is Alawi, Viego, Galio, Rakan. What do they all have in common? They want to be in your face. And Xin Zhao's ultimate doesn't do so well when everybody wants to be in your face. Dinosaur Chainsaw lagging a little bit behind, but will use his buddy Broadcomb to get himself out of there.
I can't help but wonder at this point, Yanni, if that was the fight that might have broken the back of Utica. Utica was doing so well before this. They were scrappy. They were looking for it. But they've got a team fight composition, and that team fight should have been as equal as you could get. Vision was lacking for both teams. They just had to go head into it. But Converse just managed to sweep that. And now in the back of Utica's mind, you have to know you're down gold. But it's kind of similar to game 1. You still have to team fight. You got to look for picks. And I'm looking at Madlock to try and land some of these long-range arrows.
Yeah, you got to get these picks, right? You have Braum, you have Ashe, you have Seraphine. You have an ability to be able to pick members off as necessary, even in 3v2 or 4v2 scenarios. Despite the fact that you're down, you still have those opportunities. But I don't know if Utica is going to be able to take advantage of them, because Shy Sept is just going to put so much pressure on the bottom side and keep Acorn down there.
It's just on a timer right now. Right? Every single play that Utica wants to make, in the back of their mind, they've got like, okay, where is Shy Sept? Where's the rest of the team? And that's why we've seen Utica, the last 2 picks they got were onto Shy Sept, because that is the biggest risk. Now the rest of Converse is starting to group up. Baron's on the table. You can't afford to go that top lane.
Stunned, knock up there, Braum shield out, arrow. They're going to try to turn this around right now. It's a 3v2 in the wrong direction. Dinosaur Chainsaw getting there with the double charm. Madlock goes down. Veritas shows up just in time to try to get London out of there, but he's going to go down too.
The idea was good from Utica. We were talking about Madlock trying to find the pick. He found the pick. But where was the rest of the team? Like you said, that was 2v however many people there were. And they saw at least 3 people on the map, not including the TP that came through from Scoop.
Yeah, I'm so confused as to why Utica pulled the trigger there. I think there were so many better opportunities to do so. I mean, I like the fact that they did it, you know. We can at least give them credit for that, RMC, but Converse now with the Baron available, almost a 10,000 gold lead. Shicep now just getting stronger on the side lane. Although, take a look, she's taking a lot of damage. She's got no MR.
And the question is, do Utica know? Are they going to be able to stop the recall? Nope, Empire recall, 4 seconds. Shy steps back to safety. And Yanni, it feels like we're back to game 1, right? We saw a very similar thing happen where Utica, in the early game, they were scrappy, they were hungry, they were making good rotations, getting picks and making sure they were in the game. Come the mid game, around that 20-minute mark, they lose a fight, they lose Baron, and then it becomes the Converse show. Now, the questions for me go towards Converse. Can you close out as cleanly as you did in game 1? They don't have a Jinx this time. They don't have the range to take to just fire rockets into a turret safely. They're a lot shorter range, and that means you can scrap better, but also a lot harder to siege.
Yeah, but that means more explosive fights, much like this one as Jin Jiao goes down. Double charms out. Madlock has been engaged on, trying to get away, but Viego's all in his face, although the stuns are there. Broad Coma got to the backside as well. And it's just more dominoes falling. A triple kill for Broad Coma. Scooter will go pick up the wave. Shicep will put the cherry on top. And with Converse in the base, they are looking to end this one. Minions are here. The Demon Lord has told the anime protagonists, you're a couple of training arcs away from challenging us. Converse will put a bow nicely on a 2-0 series.
No, Yanni. Hold up. Can they find anything? No, not even. I was hoping maybe they could find a kill. Yanni, maybe they weren't the Demon Lords. They were the heroes all along, and it was always their game to win.
No, they're the Demon Lords. Come on, they're the one that everybody hates. They're like, oh, I can't believe these guys. This Converse team, you know, they're like, they're so good. I'm so jealous, you know. They're so mad. This is like when you hop up in a normal game and you see a Grandmaster on the other side and you're like, I wish I was Grandmaster, you know.
You mean you're hot, Yanni? I'm definitely
no,
not.
I'm not. I'm bad at League of Legends. I was good once upon a time.
You know, Yanni, I played with you before. You're a Grandmaster in my eyes. But as you said, unfortunately, if they are the Demon Lords, this is not the end of the anime just yet. It's the beginning. It's only round 2. And for
actually
Utica,
the middle of the anime?
Middle of the first arc, right? There's still the playoff arc later. That's when
well,
the
but
teams
yeah,
need to scale
but
up.
you know, there's like what 2 rounds in the playoffs probably. So 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yanni, let them have this.
We're in the middle. Well, no. I'm just listen. I'm just trying to figure it out, RMC. I need to know what chapter we're in.
It's season 1. That's the fall season, right? And then spring is season 2. So I don't know where the arcs are. I don't got the script, but what I do have is faith that, you know, Utica, they showed us really good ideas and fundamentals, especially in the early game. And sure, they fought a Converse, but look at how they played against Converse. I don't think they'll have problems against any of the other teams in ECC. And for Converse, Yanni,
They gotta clean it up.
they gotta clean it up. How much
I mean,
cleaner
they were never behind, but you know they were down in kills, right? And they were kind of get put in the dirt so far. I mean, like Utica kept pounding them and pounding them and pounding them. I mean, Converse, you know, they knew how to pick up wins in a dungeon, I guess.
Converse knows how to build a story, Yanni. You gotta, you know, give some hope to build up that tension there. But I'm gonna be honest, Converse just feels so incredibly strong right now. Like, there's no weak point you can pick out and say, like, okay, maybe other teams look at this place that you can potentially exploit. No, every lane was really, really strong. Even if you say Broad Coma and Dinosaur Chainsaw made some mistakes in the laning phase, they were playing up from the dungeon. You can't fault their mid to late game.
Yeah.
Broad Coma's engages towards the end. We said it when we saw the Kaisa pick. And he delivered perfectly. He was first one in. Half health doesn't matter. I know my team's got my back, and nobody died in those last 2 fights from Converse. Like, your ADC's engaging, and you're surviving. That's a great sign.
Super clean in those late game team fights. Again, got to clean up the early game laning a little bit, but it just felt like they were a little too hyphy. But that'll be it for us here this evening, but we do have some other stuff on tap. The CECC West Open Qualifier is happening this weekend. We'll have an update show broadcasted on the Esports U right here on Twitch tomorrow. Next Friday, we'll be having ECC Overwatch broadcast at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time that is in other time zones because I'm Eastern, so you can do the math yourself. That'll be it for us here this evening. So for myself, for my co-caster RMC, for Professor Layton and Cool Scoots behind the glass, we want to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope to see you next time for some more Esports U action.
team double kill. Killing spree. Blue team's turret has been destroyed.